Guess who's back? Well, we're back to the fun. We spent the last couple of weeks being serious, and now we're going to talk about something that I hold near and dear to my heart: online dating. Online dating in this new millennium, which probably has jumped exponentially because everybody's in their house right now. And if you want to talk to somebody that you've never met before, the best place to do it is online through a host of apps. I wonder how Tinder's doing now that I think about it, because you're going to swipe right and not see anybody. But we're going to have some fun tonight. I have some wonderful guests. We're going to jump right into it. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. There'll be one face that you've seen before, because she is a woman of multiple talents and conversations. We're going to bring it in here. Welcome, everybody, to this entertaining discussion that we're going to have on online dating. Marion, welcome back.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm sitting here first. So I'm going to start. I'm taking it back to last year with my first question of the day, and let's see how this goes. Sherman, what are you sipping on?
I'm sipping on Tito's vodka.
Texas Classic. Texas Classic. Marion, how are we doing?
Actually, nothing yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't have that much alcohol here either.
All right. Marion is going to be the designated driver. Thundercat and OUN, how are you? I think you guys are muted there. Hold on. Let me get you off there.
Oh,
there you
go.
We're doing well.
We're doing great. Cheers. Clink. We're having Hendrix Gin Martinis. Yeehaw.
All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to talk about the ridiculousness that's in my head. So I tried to figure out what to drink tonight. And I thought with such a great topic, you just want to be loose and you want to have a good time. So I'm sipping on, I'm going to sip. I'm not even going to say sipping on, because it's probably one good sip and then I'm out. This is Don Q 151. I bought this back from Puerto Rico. Hopefully that's legal. They do sell it here, but I don't know if it's really 151. But either way it goes, I got that in my trusty shot glass. So we're going to take at least one good shot. It's going to burn. You're going to see me collapse on the screen. So, Marion, as the designated driver, I'm going to need you to, pick this up when I fall out. But I wanted to do this show again because a couple unique things. I actually met my wife on Plenty of Fish, free publicity. That is how I met her. And at the time, hold on, I'm sorry. This is why it's live. This actually has like a filter in it to like distill. I don't know what I got myself into. But anyway, look at this. This is weird. Okay. Anyway, so I met my wife on Plenty of Fish. Oh, this is so horrible. I'm going. I don't even know. I'm sorry, you guys.
Focus on your wife.
Hopefully, I'll be able to find my way to my wife after this is over. But I met her on Plenty of Fish, and the interesting thing about it is, I heard so many stories about Plenty of Fish, like it's just a random site. It's not designed for finding your mate and all that. And when I put out the filler for guests, I was really surprised to hear how many people found their significant other on Plenty of Fish. Like, it was really interesting because at the time, I wasn't looking for anything really. I just was up late at night and was like, hey, I feel like talking to somebody. Who else is up? Kind of thought process. So I'll get deeper into like our interaction, but Sherman, tell me about your online dating experience and where did you find your significant other? Gotta get a site.
Actually, I got to plug to the site here. I actually started off on Tinder because I thought that was that's the one that I saw, commercials, stuff like that. So me, my background, I was married for a long time. Of course, it was kind of a tragic in there, but moving forward, me trying to actually get out into the world, I started dating when I was in high school, and that was like the end of my dating experience right there. So I had no idea how to get out into the world and like actually communicate with people. I mean, the older you get, your circle starts getting smaller and smaller. So you find yourself not actually going out to some of these, I don't know, bars, clubs, whatever. My my thing was I saw Tinder online. I was like, that's the one to do. Everybody's using it or whatever, I guess. And so I jumped off into that one. And my experience with it, it was, I guess this kind of jumps forward on some of the questions that you sent us that we briefly talked about was, I guess I could look at your standard dating, how people would date in the past versus online dating. And online dating gave me the capability to go out and actually find somebody that I normally wouldn't run into. Typically, when it's funny because me and my wife had this conversation earlier, and I said, I would have never met you had it not been for online dating, because the circle of friends that she had, they hung out on. She actually lived in Hempstead around Tomball and everything else as well, and I'm in Springs, so the gap from me even traveling out there to find somebody to even communicate with in the first place was already out of the equation. With online dating, it closed that gap because, I didn't have to travel all the way out there and actually meet her. So Tinder was kind of a big deal for me as far as actually, I guess, introducing myself into the dating world again. And I guess in my aspect, it was such a big change from the way that I pictured dating when I was in high school versus, what people are actually doing now.
Okay. So, Marion, what about you? What is your online dating experience? Is this how you happen to meet the young man that I know you happen to know at this time?
Actually, the last time I did like an online dating app was like so long ago. It was like hit or miss. Then one guy I met, we literally was living within less than a mile from each other, and we're still cool to this day. But for me, I've been meeting people through Facebook groups, and that's how I met Jason, through Facebook groups. And it was just out of coincidence. You know how I used to post the word of the day, and
Right.
so that sparked up a conversation.
Okay. You guys both hit two things that I'm gonna come back to. This is great. What about you, Thundercat Nolan?
So we actually met way back in 2009 through eHarmony. And that was a really cool experience because like I don't really do the bar thing, I don't do the club thing, but he's a musician and he does. We did find out like, after talking for a while that we actually probably would have ran into each other eventually. Like we kept going to like the same art events or the same festivals. So I guess we just made the process go by faster, which was cool, but I don't know, it's been rad. Like I think, forgive me, I'm not good at the dates.
It's okay.
I think we dated, we were in a serious relationship for 3 years before we got married. But we got married in 2012 and hey, we're still here, so it's good.
See, and I think that's the interesting part about the online dating experience is you kind of find your way to it in different ways. I always tell people that I'm old enough to remember when there was no form of online that exists, period. And then I'm also young enough to realize that my initial reason for going online and having AOL and the dial-up was strictly to meet girls. Like it was just the idea of that I could go online and be in a chat room and talk to somebody that's completely on the other side of the earth. That's a girl. To Sherman's point, you're not in my circle. I don't know anything about you. I get to be as smooth as I think I might be, all in that space because at that time you're completely worried about. Yeah, I don't want nobody to know what I am or who I am or where I live, because it was such a new concept, so to watch everything progress to a point now where it's really a viable way of saying this is how I met my significant other. Because there was a point where people were ashamed to be like, yeah, we met online. Don't tell them we met online. Let's come up with this random story. I was walking in a grocery store and you came up to me and, romanticizing the whole thing other than saying, hey, I joined this site looking for somebody and your stats like match mine. You were my favorite baseball
Yeah.
card player,
So
So-
what's cool? To interject real quick, when people were asking first like how you and I met, I would say, oh hey, we met through eHarmony, we met through online dating, and they would be shocked. But then moving to the present and reading your posts on Facebook, like, hey, who has experience online dating? And so many people were like, hey, I met my wife. Hey, I met my spouse. Hey, I met my husband through online dating. I was floored by that. That kind of made my day. It was awesome.
Yeah, it really kind of normalized the whole thing where you think it's unique, you know, because I've known a lot of people that have met their significant others online, but the part that makes it interesting is how many people are willing to tell what site it was, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I think one of the things that stands out is you said eHarmony. So like
Mm-hmm.
I avoided certain websites because I felt like it was too serious. Like I was like, oh, you're on this website, you are looking for a significant other. I may not necessarily be looking for the significant other. I might just be say, hey, I just want to meet somebody that likes bowling, or you know, like I'm not looking for a wife necessarily. So like I tell people, I tell my wife, I went through phases with online dating. So like I could download the Tinder app just because I have no intention of doing anything. I'm just gonna keep swiping to see who I like and who might swipe me. Maybe I want to meet them. Maybe I don't. I don't know, but I'm bored. You know, like it came from a sheer point of boredom, really, a lot of times. So even when I went on Plenty of Fish, I tell all the time, like I really wasn't looking for anything, but I was also open to the idea of like whatever happens, happens. And to me, that was the difference between my normal process of online going. Is like normally I may not even be open. I'm just looking. You know, it's kind of like going to the mall. I'm gonna just look and see what's going on, but I definitely don't want to pull any money out of my pocket. I'm gonna leave my wallet in the car, and then I'm gonna just walk around and be thirsty. Just be like, I'm thirsty, but I can't afford nothing in here. So, man, you bring up a good point when you said as far as being in the Facebook groups, because to me, that's almost like the original form of being able to date online is the chat atmosphere. You know, you kind of get to see a person, how funny they are, or if they say anything interesting before you even go. But you also don't get a profile, so they could tell you anything about them until you guys actually meet. So, what made you say this? Because I've known you a long time, so I know you get all the hits and different people just dropping a DM and all that. What made his approach different?
Actually, he didn't even try to talk to me. We just, like I said, it went through my word of the day. And so he inboxed me this hard ass word and he gave me the definition of it. And then so he started talking about, he's going to school to be a geologist. He's into science and all this. And so I was like, damn, finally somebody that's smarter than me. So, I can learn something from him. And that was it for me because I was like, shit, finally somebody smarter than me.
Well, I'm gonna deviate for 1 second here because geologists are my favorite people, but I'm gonna tell you why. It's really because you don't just go to college and be like, I'm gonna become a geologist. That literally starts somewhere like in high school. You
For
made a
him,
decision.
he was like a kid. He wants to be an astrophysicist and a planetary geologist. So he's going to school for both.
See, I need to have a whole nother conversation with him. But I used to recruit oil and gas, and that was always my conversation with geologists. Is like, look, you're gonna get somebody who just wants to show you how to make money. I understand you literally have made this decision so long ago that you don't even care about the money. You know you're gonna make money. You care about the work. So just tell me where it is you want to go. What are you interested in? So it's pretty interesting that you said that. So it has caught me there. But I'll ask this with Thundercat. No, you ain't. You guys going on eHarmony? Was it what was available? Was it I'm really looking for somebody to have a serious relationship? What brought you two together?
Boy, you want me to go first or you want to go first?
Actually, I'll take this one first because
I got a long story.
Thundercat may or may not know I was on a few dating sites. Some of the popular ones at the time: Match.com, Plenty of Fish.
I was too.
And to be honest, I didn't see much of a difference between them. eHarmony was geared more towards. I don't know. I saw kind of them. They gave me better dates. And that was a big bonus. You know, I was only in touch with people that were single and looking to date. You know, some of the questions were pretty direct. You know, it's been a while, so I don't remember them. But it's like, you know, it wasn't like pressuring you to get married. But are you open to that? Yeah, sure. But it didn't feel forced. It felt very natural. And I had better dates and some very good ones, obviously.
You're very sweet.
Strangely enough, I got matched with someone on 2 different sites and didn't really seem interested in this person. And she didn't really seem that interested in me. We're like, oh, these sites matched us. We might as well go out. And it was an okay date. It wasn't bad, wasn't great. But I don't think there was a lot of you know, they're all saying we've got the better algorithm and all that. I didn't see much of that. I just saw it was a great way to filter people I was more interested in and had more potential with. And that was a huge bonus and worth the effort, worth the money, worth a whole lot more than that.
Yeah. Just like OUN, I was on multiple dating sites, and I was going through an experiment because I was single for a while. And I was like, maybe my standards are too high. So I'm like, you know what? If they pass a background check, I'll date them. I don't care. I'll date them. I realized very quickly my standards needed to be high for a reason. Oh my gosh. I have so many nightmare stories. They're memorable. I could write a book about them. So I was literally about to give up on dating altogether. The sites didn't matter. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to stay single. This isn't worth it. And I was like, I'll sign up for eHarmony. It was the only place I hadn't signed up. And I went through some stuff, and it wasn't looking good. And then I can't, oh, forgive me. It's been a long time. It's been a few years. I can't remember if I contacted OUN first or if he contacted me first. But his profile, like all the stuff, like synced up with mine. Like they had like this huge, like 300 question personality profile. And I was like, holy crap, I've never seen that before. I was like, okay, I want to give this guy a chance before I just shut it all off together. And we started talking, and it was just click, click, click. Everything was clicking, and I wasn't really expecting, you know, a serious relationship or marriage out of it. I got lucky, but I don't know, it was just everything clicked, and it just worked out. So, yeah, he's stuck with me now.
Yeah, sure, man. So I'm gonna go to you because let me ask you: did you find your wife on the Tinder? Was where you found, right?
I did, and I kind of got a different outlook on this. I got lucky on Tinder, but what I'll say about Tinder is that I guess in the end I didn't like how Tinder was set up, and this is more so kind of a blast in the apps on how they work. Where Tinder is a swipe swipe right, swipe left type thing, where you're just looking at a picture and you get a very brief profile. To where I believe me and you had a conversation about Plenty of Fish. I believe it was you. It was either you or John that I talked to about the different dating apps. And I wound up going to Plenty of Fish after the fact because there was more of a biography of somebody instead of just a simple statement. And on my behalf, I got lucky that I found somebody through Tinder and we just actually matched up. Just off of a simple, okay, I like the way they look, basically. And, you know, of course, like I said, it was luck. Where Plenty of Fish gives you more of a biography of who this person is. Do they have animals? Do they have kids? So on and so forth. Where I just happen to get lucky with that one person and say, well, let's have a conversation. And then the conversation just took off to some other extreme. And man, there's like a whole crazy story about like our first date and everything that she turns around and tells everybody else, because I swear that I came home and I called my best friend. I was like, I think I ruined this date. So that being said, when I look at the two apps, Tinder was like very vague on, you know, especially like you said, you were trying to get out there and meet people. You know, my circumstance, I was trying to get out and like just get out there because I didn't know what to do. And Was I expecting to turn around and feel a certain way about somebody else? Not really. I was more under the impression I want to get out. I need to get out of the house. I need to go have fun. I need to meet people. And so that first impression of the dating apps, when I finally like migrated over to Plenty of Fish or something that gave more of detail, I looked at Tinder and I was like, this isn't the app that I need to be using for this, because I felt like I'll look at it in a softer route, and I'll say I feel like it was more sexist towards anything. Like, you're looking at an app and you're judging a person by the way they look 100% off of one little statement. It's almost like going on Instagram and saying, I'm going to find a date on Instagram and I'm going to look at their statement of the day or whatever and say that's the person they are. And I had 2 kids. So as a father with 2 kids, stepping into any kind of opportunity where I'm looking like there might be something there, there was more to me on that whenever I want to meet somebody, even if we're just hanging out. Like, me and you hang out. I hang out with quite a few other people as well. And so everybody that I hang out with in my circle kind of has some kind of, I guess, sentimental value to me. We just talked earlier about how whenever you talk to me, I'm like, well, I respect your opinion and I've always listened to you and stuff like that. So it was the same kind of approach that I took to even dating. When I go out, I'm like, I need to communicate with somebody beyond just a picture. And that's something that Tinder didn't do for me right off the bat. Just kind of trying to match myself with somebody. But after the fact, like I said, I got lucky and actually found somebody that I could communicate. And sadly, it was off of one little statement on there and a couple pictures. But luckily, it worked out.
It's interesting that you say that, because so I think when you were looking, I think you were more so looking. You were looking for a relationship or what dating was. Tinder probably was like dating on speed, because it's designed for everything that you hated about it. It's what it's designed for. Make a quick decision. Oh, you match. All right, let's chat. You want to get together right now, or where do you take it? With the swiping. Whereas when you go to Plenty of Fish, truthfully, Plenty of Fish was designed in people's theories of, well, this is like the next level up from Tinder, but it's not very far from it. Like, you probably, and it worked for you, like you said. Most people would have went to Match or eHarmony, based off what you're describing that you were looking for. And that brings me to the idea of, when you look at all these dating apps, like I said, I purposely avoided Match, eHarmony. If you had a commercial on TV, I wanted no part of you. Like, I didn't like. I'm not out here trying to find Mrs. Right. I'm not necessarily trying to find Mrs. Right now, but I'll definitely know that I'm not where I want to be, to just be like, let me find somebody to be serious about and add them into my life. I'm just, hey, it was 2 a.m. I think I joined at like 2 a.m. I was just up. So it wasn't like, let me find somebody. It was just, all right, well, I can't call anybody I know right now, because they'll be like, why are you calling me at 2 a.m? What are you trying to do? And I had to be like, nothing. Just having a conversation. What, you sleep? What you up to? So I figured you find somebody with a night job, have a night conversation kind of thing. But it's always interesting. And I want to dig a little bit deeper for everybody in terms of your online dating experience. Sherman, I'm going to go back to you, because you made it sound like you went on Tinder one night and you swiped right one good time, and there she was.
I'll bring this right back around, and that's not actually how it happened. Of course, there's a few people that turn around and swipe right on me as well. And like I said, you got to understand, like, when I stepped into the dating world, there was things I feel embarrassed to even talk about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. So when I stepped into the dating world, I went from being 18 years old and dating 17, 18 in high school to being in my 30s and trying to find out how to date. Jumping in that late in the game and trying to, just figure out how everything's working now. Like I said, I directed like right to the online stuff. So I was like, that's the way everybody's doing it now. Like Thundercat and OUN said earlier, like when they got into it, it was kind of like almost taboo to say like we met online. By the time I got into it, it was kind of one of those things where like, it's starting to be accepted. And so that was my route going into it. And it wasn't even just like dating. Like I said, I was trying to get out there and like meet people. Now, what was crazy was like, and I guess I can kind of direct this like back to my first date. Now I want to like explain two different people that I met on Tinder.
Oh,
The very first date I met on Tinder was my wife now. We went out and she was super busy. And it's crazy because like that's another thing that kind of bridges the gap with like online dating versus your traditional dating, where I look at things like we've had conversations in the past talking about like how focused people could be nowadays. Like we talk music and stuff like that. And you say, well, if you can't get somebody's attention within like 15 seconds, it's kind of out the window. And so I looked at dating the same way. Like this was kind of like you said, like Tinder was like dating on speed. Like it's like, over and over. When I met my wife, we went on a date and I think we talked for about a couple weeks. We turned around and of course met in a public area. I'd done the dumbest thing that I always felt like was the dumbest thing. I went on a date to a movie and you know me, like I like to talk. So anytime you're dating, you want to be able to talk to somebody and get to know them. And the very first date, the first thing we did was shut up, watch a movie. The best thing that can happen was I saw the crappiest movie in the world. I won't mention this movie because I think she still likes it, but
I mean, save the rest of us. Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Hey, London Has Fallen. Okay. If you ever want to see a bunch of actors just look at a movie and be like, well, that's Raw Butler over there. Let him do all the acting and we'll just sit down and be glad we're part of the movie. It was terrible acting. So I'm looking at it like an action-packed movie, like just throw The Rock in there and we can wrap this up and at least boost the level of this excitement. We watched this crappy movie, and the whole time, like I couldn't keep my eyes on her. I mean, eyes off of her. But I remember we like literally moved our date night over and over and over, like closer and closer to her house. So now you start thinking about like how busy people really are, because she was getting off of work late. She had 2 kids, and so I look at it now like kind of how I explained it to you guys. Like when it comes down to the online dating, it almost fits around somebody's life experience and what they're going through, what they're living through. And so you got a single mom and a single dad, both with 2 kids. And here we are trying to make a date work just to get to a certain place. But at the same time, it brought us to a place where we can at least talk before even the date. Now, at the end of everything, the movie was terrible. We walk out. She's like, what'd you think of the movie? And I was like, well, you want me to be honest about it? I think it sucked. And she asked me, she was like, well, why do you think it sucked? And I told her, like, well, right off the bat, the acting was terrible, but then you got Gerald Butler, the only guy in the world that's got the most powerful beard in the movie 300, and you put him on the screen, and that's what I'm going to take you to a date to see? Like, no, I'm not going to sit there and shut up while he takes the show. Like,
Was that the day you started growing your beard?
actually, you've known me before I've had the beard, so yeah, maybe. But I mean, like, John, you know me enough to, something like that happens, I start cracking jokes. Now, we step out into the parking lot, and this is probably about 9 o'clock or so. She's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, well, let's go get something to eat. Maybe I can still, kind of one up this movie date, because it was a terrible idea. So we walked to like a steakhouse. It's closed. We walked to another little area in the little strip center over there. It's closed. Next thing you know, we spend the rest of the night talking outside of some sushi bar and just getting to know each other. We walked around a parking lot just getting to know each other, talking about our family, talking about our kids. And that was like, it turned out to be like from the worst date I ever like decided to go on. And I'm not saying like she was a bad date. I'm just saying like the movie thing was just terrible. Like, you don't go to a date to not talk to somebody.
Sherman, I got to cut you off for a second because
Yep.
I feel that the remembering of this date is more so about the movie you saw. Because I've been on a lot of movie dates. I mean, that was the high school thing to do. And I had wonderful movie dates because I saw movies that I enjoyed. But I feel like you've tied London Falls into like how horrible of a date this was.
Okay, no. but listen to what you just said there. So you're a grown man now, and you're talking about going on movie dates in high school. As a grown man that actually wants to communicate with somebody, and it doesn't matter if you're making this like a serious date, you're going on a date to communicate with somebody. So we go out, and I take her to a movie, and the first thing we do is shut up for a couple hours. And in most cases, people look at you like, hey, can y'all be quiet? So that's why I mentioned like this whole thing. Like I'll make jokes about, Draw Butler in the movie and stuff like that. It was nothing really bad about the movie being terrible. It was more so that it was a bad choice. What really hit the ball out of the park was us walking around and getting to know each other. And so when I look at like the whole how we even got there through the dating app, like I said earlier, I would have never really met this woman had it not been in that same circle. Like she wasn't in my circle. Had it not been for the dating app circle, it would have never happened. And I got lucky with the Tinder app, not knowing somebody before I even stepped into the date. Now, after the fact, getting to know somebody, like really took it to another level. So it was kind of it's like mixed emotions. Like we talked about online dating versus traditional. And this was almost a bit of both.
Well, so to your point, and then Marion, I want to ask you a question. So, ironically, the order in which you did everything is kind of what makes it different. Because now that I'm older, I'm gonna go to dinner first, and then we go to the movie, or that's usually the order of things. So, in that case, I get how you're looking at it there, but I think that's what online dating brings more so than traditional dating. Because traditional dating works similar to Tinder. Like you see somebody you're attracted to, you approach them, you're asking for a number, or you're asking for something in that moment to be able to open up a door to get to know the other person. Whereas online dating, hopefully, unless you're getting catfish, which is a whole show, then you're able to get a bio on the person, like whatever they think of themselves, whatever they want to display, they put on this in this 300 sentence paragraph or 300 characters to say I'm this person, blah 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 blah, and then you make a decision of does their blah blah match your blah blah, and now can y'all talk? Can you have a conversation? Because there's a lot of times in online dating, you will see a profile, they have the greatest profile, you have the greatest profile, you send a message, hi, how you doing? They're like, what's up? And your conversation level becomes, hey. And at a certain point, that's the most irritating thing in the world. If all we're doing is typing back to each other, so how do you feel? I feel fine. How about you? And you just keep this spin going on until somebody figures out how to take this awkward moment and turn it into a real conversation. So, Marion, I'm going to jump over and ask you this question. Outside of the Facebook, have you tried any of the dating apps? And if so, how crazy was it for you? Because obviously you found your significant other someplace else other than the apps.
Well, I was on Tinder briefly, actually to be nosy. But I didn't, I just wanted to see like if there were people on there that I knew that shouldn't be on there, that type of thing. But I can't remember the app that I was on before. Like I said, that I met that person and we're still cool today. It's just after that, I just didn't pursue trying to meet someone online because, I hear the horror stories. I still hear the horror stories about Plenty of Fish and all that type of stuff. So for me, I guess because Facebook, you're on Facebook all the time. I'm in so many groups. Like the last time that I met someone like face to face was like 2012, where that person tried to talk to me, that way. Every other relationship has been through like meeting them through Facebook.
See, I think that's it's weird because I feel like Facebook is, so I'm going to try and see how I want to approach this because I feel like there are going to be people that I know that this is going to secretly call them out, and then I'm going to start getting shade towards the end. Like, I feel that. So the online dating, I question how many people are actually looking for genuine connections, just in general. I mean, there, because you find that people present something that's not real for no purpose whatsoever. Like, that's the part that I find in all of the online dating stories is, so somebody took the time out to pretend to be somebody else for a long period of time. What is going on in your life? Like, do you have anything else going on a regular basis just to spend that much time wasting somebody else's time for no reason whatsoever? To the other side of that, on the Facebook groups, like, I technically met Marion in a Facebook group through her sister, who I worked with, and like, the funny thing about it is, I am normally opposed to any of that. My only reason for doing it was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of my circle. My circle is my circle. It's the same people. Let's see what's happening outside. Like, you live in the fourth largest city, and I'm like, I know like 45 people, and I've known these 45 people for X amount of time. All right, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Let me go find something else that seems different, that's completely different. And I met a cool group of people, like, it just there, which causes you to start looking at the world differently, because in these groups, you see people flirt with each other. You see people go way further in a typing standpoint than they would probably ever say to a person face to face. Like, one of the most interesting things to me is we actually like would go on like these group trips. So it'd be like these meetups. And I always got fascinated by the fact of like, so for all that personality that existed in this group, in this room, people face to face looking like high school dance. Like, you're going to be on this wall over here. We're going to be on this wall over here. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be me 100% of the time. So, why be that? But it's interesting how people hide there, but they have this desire to connect in a real world, but they don't know how to translate the two. And I appreciate Sherman's honesty of, let's be real. You came from a situation where you, like you said, you were learning the idea of dating and all what that means in this new form. And probably the only word you ever heard was Tinder, Tinder, Tinder. So you jump on Tinder and you're swiping, looking for a real connection. And then you've probably found, not going to say anything, but you probably found that a lot of people were not necessarily looking for a real connection as a now connection. So it's the great part about it is, in you finding your wife there, or finding who became your wife, is that you found somebody that was willing to take the time, like you were willing to take the time and gather that, and then you guys had a conversation. So now go to dinner first, then go to the movie, and it's all a good time.
Yep.
But man, I'm gonna come back to you because I really want to get some stories from you, because I know their stories.
Well, there's a bad experience too, and it was one of your questions that you had pre-planned for this whole thing.
Don't tell people I pre-planned.
Hey, come on now, pre-planning is what makes a professional. So
who wants to be professional?
Everybody.
I'm drinking 151. I'm risking my life right now.
I'll take that comment back then.
But what were you saying? You saying about the bad experience?
No, it was funny because before this whole thing happened, of course, like, that's my wife, that's my best friend. So I sit down and kind of bounce ideas off. It doesn't matter if it's just this or work or whatever, but this was one conversation that kind of got us thinking, like, everything we've been through. And I mentioned like how I got lucky meeting her first on Tinder, but then like afterwards, we were friends after the fact. Like, we called off the dating thing. We were like, yeah, we need to kind of get to know each other, stuff like that. And of course, there's bad experiences that pop up. And so on my end, I'm like, well, what was your bad experiences? Because I'm reverting back to the questions before I started here. This is the kind of stuff I do for a living, so I always try to prepare for it. But I'm looking at the question. I'm like, well, what do you think of this? I want your feedback, and maybe we could jump off into like the good and the bad and the ugly pretty soon. But if you're ready to start with that, we could jump off into that, or we can continue on with your agenda here.
I have no idea why you just said all that. Give me get back to you. No, I get
Well-
what you're saying, but I'm like, in terms of. So
I'm
your
trying
point-
to just like stay in line with what we're discussing here too. So, like I said, I know this is one of the things that we wanted to talk about, as far as like some of the bad experiences, good experiences, as far as online dating. If you want to come back and touch base on that, we can. If not, I can talk about it now.
Oh, okay. Thundercat, OUN, let me jump to you real quick. I'm gonna get back to you, Sherman. Here,
All right.
you guys dated. You found each other there. So, do you feel that in your dating experience you were driven to each other, or was it like, you know what? This is the best of what I've seen. It may not be 100. It might be 95. It might be 85. But I'm definitely tired of 65s. Because I feel
So-
like nobody connects with less than 50. But you kind of get to a point where, look, I'll take 51 at this point. I'm just over it.
No, I want to jump in if that's okay.
Of course.
I know like when I was first talking about like, hey, like during the eHarmony, I'm sorry, I'm a little drunk, so I'm slurring already. I'm being self-aware. Anyways, that was kind of like, if this doesn't work, like that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to be single for a while. And this is something I've told OUN many times since we've been together, that I knew I was going to marry him the moment I met him. And it was, I know it sounds all fairy tale and serendipitous, but everything clicked so amazingly well. I was not expecting it. You had to fill out these long questionnaires in eHarmony before you could ask each other questions. And there's a point where like, I got to that level with several people, but they went straight to the sexual stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'm an adult. Yeah, I'm not a prude, but that's not what I want to talk about right off the bat when we can like freely ask each other questions. And he hit me like with crazy stuff like, tell me everything you know about potatoes. And it just made me bust up laughing. It was so like off the wall. And he told me his reasoning for it was he just wanted to move on so he could actually get on the phone and talk to me. He was just trying to go through the steps. But I was like, hey, it stuck out. I liked it. One of my questions for him was, what's your favorite color? And that's something I ask, everybody, because I'm an artist. Color is very important to me. And, he would tell me his favorite colors like purple and burgundy and gold. I'm like, that's awesome. Well, when we met on our first date, I met him at his house. The inside of his house are all his favorite colors. And I was ecstatic because he lived his truth. He didn't say, hey, these are my favorite colors and live in a beige house.
Mhm.
And so he didn't realize how important that was to me. And I was just elated. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, every single thing he said has been the truth. It was amazing. We also had a really great first date. And, if you have time for that later, that's cool. I kind of forgot what the question was. I'm sorry. I'm a little drunk right now.
No. I mean, honestly, you hit something that I think everybody has touched on. Well, I didn't touch on it, but Sherman touched on it. You guys touched on it. Marion touched on it. Is you kind of get to this place with online dating or the introduction where you do just know. Like, it may not be a lot of conversations. It might just be that one good conversation. You're like, wait, this feels completely different than a million other conversations that I've had that have been completely deeper. And I always tell my wife, I'm like, listen, I knew that if I was going to get married, it was probably going to be you based off our conversations. Like, I could tell people. Now, that's not I was in love and I was ready to, get married 3 days later. None of that. But I said, look, I saw how it was lining up. And I told her, I was like, what I always said I was looking for is I'm looking for the person that makes me look up. Because anybody that knows me knows if I'm focused on doing something, I'm 100% about business, do the things I need to do. So when it came to dating, the reason why I mainly was meeting people online, if I was going to meet somebody, was because I wasn't taking time to go to a club, to be out or do anything like that. I was really trying to build something. At the time, it was Critical Hustle and doing some of the things that I've actually gotten to do now. But that was my focus. So if you were a woman that I could talk to, you had to be dynamic for me to even remotely just be like, all right, I'm going to carve out this time in my life to go do this. And so I think that to what Sherman was saying is that, yeah, like he met her on Tinder, but it was the conversations that lead you to the point of getting to the date. Because even for us, it took about a month, I think, for us to get from seeing each other. And it wasn't even that we didn't try to go out, but it was just we had conversations. And I said, I'm going to do something different because I saw it. I don't even know if it was a movie or just some random guy tip. But I was like, I'm going to ask her out for ice cream because guys don't take girls out for ice cream. So, like, I asked her. To this day, I don't think we've ever actually gone out for ice cream. That's the funny part.
Fix that.
Well, I mean,
Fix
go other places.
that.
We've had ice cream together, but I don't think we've ever
Okay.
just been like, let's go get ice cream. But I say all that to say that I think that that's one of the beautiful parts about online dating is you kind of get to let your weird shine through. Like that's really what it is. Like I appreciate OUN's what I'm gonna call online game of like, you know what? I'm gonna just ask really random questions because if you can hang in this space, we'll be fine. I'm gonna ask you just the most ridiculous of things and then make you curious because that's what people don't get about online dating. You have to make a person curious because if not, all you get back and forth is, hey, hi, hey, and then you got to come with something else. With Marion, with online dating, you get to see a person's personality. So I actually want to go back and ask what's the word that he gave you because I'm curious to know that. But I want to jump to something for Sherman real quick because you said the bad, and I do want to touch on the bad. Because if not, we're going to tell all these wonderful love stories. And I know more people with bad online dating stories that I personally think that I would like to do a whole show about just the bad because they're always funny to me because there are some really weird people in the world. And apparently they're all online dating because that's the balance of it. Sherman, give me one bad online dating story.
I do want to stand out and say that if I actually finish off the whole story of the dating scene with my wife, it's actually a really good story. She's watching right now. She knows the story. But anyways, one bad dating
Love her.
story here. Me and my wife had this conversation before, actually. Me and my wife, we remained friends after the whole dating thing. And like there's like a crazy good story behind like things that were happening in the background. We weren't really talking as like a girlfriend or boyfriend or any kind of like future thing that's going to happen. But I turned around and of course, again on Tinder, and I believe I reached out to you after this date and asked you what you were using.
Quick pause.
Yes.
Please don't share the things that I shared and talk to you about as we try to coach you through this
I'm
moment.
not.
Because I have a reputation I would like to maintain.
Okay. I'm just gonna put it out there like this. I asked you what site you were using for this reason.
Go ahead.
Because it was a bad experience. Now,
Yeah.
I want to know now.
no, that was the end of it. I asked him like, what are you using for like online dating? And like he's holding a thumbs up like it was more than that, but I'm telling you, like this was literally a conversation. And he was like, don't use that site. This is the one I'm using. And he was actually the one that pointed out like this one gives you more details. It was Plenty of Fish. Now, the second person I talked to on Tinder, man, everything like on Tinder seemed to be good. And of course, again, this is what like I'm trying to represent is like Tinder had that one little statement. So you look at a few pictures, you look at the statement, you're like, yeah, okay, this is somebody that I might be interested in. Let's talk. We started talking and everything. We went on one date. I talked to her about like my kids and stuff like that because when it comes to online dating, I felt like the honesty was important. I need somebody that if I'm talking to somebody, I need them to know like right off the bat, I got kids. I don't want to be like some, random show on TV or something where they come back later like, oh, by the way, I got these 2 kids in the background. What are you going to do about it? So I always try to be upfront about who I am. And when it comes to my kids, like that's my heart right there. So that's my life. These are my kids. I do have kids. I am a dad. I am a single dad. And what I found out like through dating on Tinder the second time around was that right off the bat, like you see me go from my car to a BMW and stuff like that. I was proud of my accomplishments, but what I didn't realize was people that see the accomplishments that I do on Tinder. And in this case, I actually had somebody that was like, hey, I think you need a roommate, blah, blah, blah. Let me move in or whatever. And then what really like, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but like this lady turned around and she was like, I thought she had like a decent job and everything. I think she was a nurse or something, but she came back and she was like, you know, I need a new place to stay and I think your kids need a mom. And right there, like it scared the fuck out of me. It scared me because I was like, it was almost like a sickening level. And I told my wife about this. I was like, you know, I don't think as a man I've ever felt so sick for a woman to come to a man and be like, your kids need a mom, especially you knowing what I've been through.
Right.
So it was like, here I am in my 30s trying to date, and I was like, man, is this like what it's really like? Like there was such a drastic change from that first date to the second date, and then now you start seeing somebody that's looking at your money and your accomplishments, and they're trying to almost say, well, I'm about to lose my place, so let me move in with you type situation. And what like really twisted the whole thing around was like somebody coming along and like using my kids as leverage against me. Like, your kids need a mom. I was like, wow, like, is it really that twisted out there in the dating world? Like, because, you know, when you're in high school, you don't have those kind of conversations. There's no kids involved, whatever. As an adult, you start realizing there's this bigger picture of things that are involved. And it's, when it comes to me dating, like, my wife would have never moved into the house until the kids said it was okay. Allison, my daughter, was the first one to actually say, like, hey, I think it's time that we have somebody in the house. So like it was like a whole different, like it was a whirlwind of emotions. Like, I'm an adult with kids to take care of, and when your kids start noticing, you know, things like that, it becomes like this whole other bigger picture that's harder to put in words. But when you're in that dating scene, and I'll say it as a guy, like, you jump into a dating scene, you're just like, man, you want to play the field, see what's going on. But when something starts coming close to hitting at home, like when it comes to the kids, that's what, like, that was the horror stories for online dating for me. Like, don't, like, I try to keep the kids and me and dating separate when I was in that scene, but to somebody to bring that to the forefront before I brought it, I was like, I can't do it. Like, to me, that was borderline like crazy. Like,
oh, it wasn't. You was across the border.
Yeah, no,
That was manipulative.
I'm definitely gonna have to run away from you because you might kill me in my sleep type crazy. Like, that's, you might try to collect life insurance on me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't deal with that kind of crazy. That's a level of crazy I just never seen in my life. So, well, that's you know,
that's wild. I mean, but that it's funny you hit a point that I'm gonna come back to, but I really want to touch on these crazy stories because that's what the people want. Which way do I want to go? I feel like I want to go to Marion. Just see, no, I'm saving you, Thundercat, because I feel like you're gonna win. I feel like you're gonna win. I feel like Marion is gonna at least knock on the door, but I feel like you're gonna bring us home. So, Marion,
wherever you want to go.
I'm gonna be very specific because yours is more Facebook related. So, in the presentation that these said gentlemen have tried to present to you, which one, if you don't have to share names, and you know we'll protect the innocent, but what have you found to be the biggest catfish of story that I don't even want to say you fell for it, but like you was like, I can't believe he had the audacity to, and thought he'd get away with it?
Actually, the only bad situation that I had in regards to meeting people on Facebook or Facebook groups, I'm not gonna say his name, but you know, you met him, little short, little dark, you know, that whole little situation. You got to think, but
I
it
gotta
was
think because it's been a minute.
name started with an R, but that was like the worst ever. So yeah.
Okay. See, okay. See, I don't even know. I feel like I want to dig into the story, but it's like, all right, I'm gonna just, okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I
But,
told you,
I mean, 'cause for me, when I'm in the Facebook groups, I don't pretend like to be something else. So the people who gravitate to me know this, so they don't come to me with a lot of bullshit, because I ask a lot of questions, and if you tell me something, I'm gonna be like, why do I'm just gonna, I need you to give me more, and then I can just feel through the bullshit like that way.
Fair. That's called seasoned veteran. Use a seasoned veteran. You're like, look, I've been dating for a while. I get it. So before we open up the curtain on the main show, I do want to go back to something that Sherman brought up, and Marion, we've talked about this before, and I think this is something that you have to look at online dating. So when you were dating with purpose. Like you were dating, like you were dating to get back in the dating world. But I remember having those conversations where I will openly admit this. We were telling you, like, you haven't dated since you were in high school. Like, you don't have to be this exact. Like, you're trying to date with purpose in an environment that's not designed for it. Like, you have to learn how to whittle down people to find that exact right person. Because you honestly, you learn. I told my wife this. I was like, you date enough of the wrong people, it's really easy to figure out what's right. Like, it's just, it kind of works itself out for you. You're like, okay, that crazy there. I tell all the time, I was like, I can get crazy down to a conversation. Like, you don't have to even say anything that anybody else would consider crazy, and I'd be like, you know what? She's a little off. I'm okay. I'm gonna go on and just move on to the next person and be fine.
See, what's crazy though is like the first date that I went on, which I'm married now to that same woman. I turn around and like I was the crazy one, and I hate to say it, like I had to call my best friend John Black, and I was like, man, bro, I ruined this date. And what ruined the whole date was like, I talk about like the crazy stuff I've been, that I've seen through Tinder there that actually made me go to Plenty of Fish because I needed more information. I went on a date with my now wife, and of course, like I said, the movie night sucked and everything. I was honest about it. What got me was after I got to know somebody so well, and you know me, like I'm super sarcastic about stuff. She's super sarcastic. You got to meet her. You were in my wedding. She said something super sarcastic to me while we were outside that sushi restaurant, and I was like, man, I fucking love you. And it hit me like in like multiple ways. Like right off the bat, I didn't mean it like that, because I was married before I lost my wife. Like I didn't think I would ever feel like that. And that's another thing that hit me was like, Jerron, you know me. I never thought I would say something like that to anybody else. So when it happened, it was like a roller coaster of emotions that actually happened. And the worst thing happened was she gave me the pity pat and a hug, and she tapped me on the back and was like, it's okay. Because I was always honest. Like, man, this is what I've been through. I got kids. I'm a single dad. I'm out there trying to like get to know somebody. She pity pat me on the back, and I was just like, there goes that date, even though the movie sucked, So I go home, I call my best friend, and I'm like, hey, John, I ruined that date, so it is what it is. And I kept in touch with her over time, and it took that time to like, it's funny because I told her earlier, like she likes to watch Married at First Sight. I don't know if any of y'all seen that.
Oh no, that's a couple show for me. Like that's our show. We watch random stuff like that.
Okay, so my wife's like really big into it. She got me into it like the last couple seasons, I guess. And me personally, I like the psychiatry behind the scenes that actually happens. What I see with what happened with us was beyond like the the online dating or anything, was there's a part where people need to get to know one another on a personal level. And what you see in the show is they turn around and they try to make this happen like instantly. What happened with me and my wife was that first date night kind of solidified like, well, you're my kind of people. And it's funny because when I tell her like, that's how I meant like, man, I fucking love you. Like I could hang out with you all the time and we can just keep this, this cracking. I was like, you're good people. And the feelings I felt inside meant something different to me. So we look at something like that show and I see where they try to build around that. But like, that's what actually had to happen between me and her. Like we actually broke off, became friends.
Right.
And then built like this whole like relationship over the next few months over like, this is who I want to talk to and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, we even with the online dating, we still had to get to know each other.
Right.
And this is what I said, like there was like this weird gap between like the online dating brought us together and we were able to meet somebody outside of our circle that we wouldn't meet. But in the end, it came down to like the old traditional side where like, and I'll take it to like our second date where.
Well, let me say this, Sherman, not to
go ahead. No, go ahead.
But the whole process, even whether it's online or meeting in the physical sense immediately, it's the natural man meets woman. Like that's the thing that I always look at it. It's not a separation. It's two human beings coming together to interact. It just changes. It's the difference from going from traditional cash, like money, to now you do crypto. Like it's the same concept. Yep. It's just in a different format. So you have to get to a place where you understand it and understand who you are in that spectrum. Like when I said that you were looking for purpose, you were looking for a connection, like a genuine connection. So what presented to you with who became your wife is you guys had a connection that first night. So even when you go and find somebody else and now you can compare like, oh, this person I'm with may be fun, but I don't feel connected. You get driven back to that person, but you learn to expedite that process over time. When you date more people, you be like, okay, this is a good time. This is a real connection. This is a friend. I have a question I ask all guys, and I'll probably do a guys night where I ask how many guys have ever friend zoned a girl. And I've asked a few guys that, and they look at me like I'm completely crazy. And I'm like, so you never met a girl that you're like, she is great as a person. I want to hang out. However, she's the kind of girl that when you date, if it go wrong, she's going to slash your tires and burn your house down. So I don't want to go there, but she's a ride or die friend, and I'm all for that. I know what it is to meet that person when you're like, this is a good person, but when her heart gets involved, she's a completely different person. And I'm going to jump to Thundercat because now I'm ready. I feel like we set the table. I feel like we're ready. I done gave you heart jumping out, ready to stab the world. Give us a good one.
I have a lot. I'm going to try to keep it to maybe one or two. While I was going through my process of trying to see like, hey, are my standards too high? Are my standards too low? If you pass a background check, I would date you. Like, no matter what. That was the only deal. And this one guy, the background check would not go through. But man, he talked a hell of a game. I'm like, okay. And then he accidentally flipped up and gave just a little bit of information of who he really was in our last communication before we met. And I found out he was married and that he had kids. I found out where he worked. I found out who his wife was. And I contacted her. And I said, hey, just giving you a heads up, your husband is contacting people left and right all over eHarmony. You might want to come get your man. I canceled any meetups with him once I found out, and I blocked him from all communications. His wife took it really well. I was really surprised. It still makes me upset. My voice is shaking thinking about this, that someone would go through that trouble and lie that much. Like, we had talked like back and forth for quite a while before we decided, oh, hey, let's meet. And then, finding out that person was extremely unfaithful. untruthful and not who they said they were. It really made me upset. I'm not sure if I told you about that one. I'm sorry, my bad.
That's okay. We're learning new stuff.
The craziest one that I had, though, this one was just bizarre. This guy, like, we also met through a dating site, and we talked on the phone for a while, and personalities clicked great over the phone. And then, so we met up, for the first date. We met at a public place, met at a restaurant, and it just was not. It was like tanking really fast. This was clearly not going to work out. And he asked me to marry him. First date. And I was like, what? And I said, yeah, I'm not sure about this. I don't think this is going to work out. And he got really upset, started making a scene. He had bought tickets for Vegas, slapped them on the table. Like, he was ready to go. Like, this was his plan. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not ready for this. And I was just so thankful that I brought my own car and that I could just leave on my own, because it got really heated and I didn't want to be there. And I was just like, does this really happen? Like, is this for real?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
You brought me to a question. How long did y'all talk prior to the first date?
About 2 weeks.
So in 2 weeks, he
Yeah,
decided that, because you have a wonderful personality, like you do have a great personality, but you're telling me that in 2 weeks he decided, I'm gonna buy a plane ticket. I want to marry you, and because you said no, he got upset enough to cause a complete scene.
Yes.
And this was on eHarmony?
I don't remember. It could have been like Lava Life and Match.
I was like,
I don't think it was eHarmony though.
Oh, Lava Life. That's one I tried too. Some of them have passed by the wayside.
I never heard of that one. But
it fell.
That's
Most
amazing.
of my nightmare dates came from Lava Life. It was bad, but yeah. I don't know. Those are my two worst ones, but they weren't great. There was a guy that still texted me happy birthday for years after we stopped seeing each other.
That may be just being polite. I mean,
it wasn't.
Well, I'm just saying, you came in third with a happy birthday over a guy after 2 weeks who was like, listen, I need you to marry me. So he seems kind of like the happy birthday guy seems kind of normal by comparison. Like,
no, he wasn't. He wasn't. I'm sorry, Jerron. I'm trying to be so nice. He wasn't.
I mean, I'm sure there's a story, but I'm just saying that when you say, so the guy was like, will you marry me? Wait, you don't want to marry me? It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 whole weeks. If you don't want to marry me, I got these tickets. We can go to Vegas right now, make this happen. All right. Like I said, you would win. You definitely, well, actually, you win. I'm not going to leave you out.
Yeah. What's your story?
Well, I mean, I do have a bad story about somebody yelling at me before we even met in real person, but I kind of wanted to talk about something else that may be a universal experience. I don't know. That's somewhat negative about online dating in general. I've been out of it for a while, but I have a feeling it may still be a universal thing, and that's people misrepresenting themselves with pictures. I get that more modern online dating, maybe more like this, where it's real-time video, where some of that's impossible to do. But one of the negatives that I saw was I'd see a picture of someone, get to know them through the whole process, go on the first date, and their picture was obviously decades younger. The joke I like to say is, I didn't know your mom was coming to this date, or your older sister. And I don't know if that's still a thing, but that was the one negative that happened more than a few times.
So let me ask you this. In hindsight, do you appreciate the audacity? Because I feel like it takes a certain level of courage to just be like, I'm going to show you this picture from when I was 22 and still meet you at 48. Like, I think
men do that too, G. Men do that too.
No, I think
I would imagine they do.
But I'm saying, like, it takes a certain level of audacity to do that. Like, because what are you trying to really get away with? Like,
well, men typically catfish their body. Now, I've had that happen to me. but I had already seen him in person. So why are you sending me a picture of someone else when I've already seen you? Now that one, I was just like, what the
Did he
fuck?
put his head on? He put his head on a different body?
His lower part, it was not him, okay?
Oh,
I'm sorry,
oh.
but Marion
Totally,
just
like-
won.
Oh, okay.
Marion just won.
Okay.
That takes the cake.
Well, okay, hold on. I'm not defending the action, but see, that's different. And I'm gonna tell you why that's different. Because you gotta think about it. When you show the picture of the lower part, in order for you to prove that that's not you, you're in a position to show your lower part. So you got a 50-50 chance at that point that it may continue, or maybe somebody will be so appalled that they're like, I can't believe you did that to me. I'm
But
leaving.
if we've already been physical, I know what your body looked like.
Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, he's a complete
She
idiot.
knew him.
See, I'm sorry. That's a complete idiot. I thought we was talking about. Look, I had to catfish. I had to catfish you in the beginning so we could get here, and you decide if you want catfish or not.
Yeah, we met, we start talking all this, but you're sending a picture of someone else, and I just looked at the phone. And I was like,
So I know you well enough to know you called him on it. So what was his reason? His thought
no,
process?
I didn't call him on it. I was like, this is what I was like. I say, send me a video. He made all kind of excuses. I was like, dude, like, what? Why would you do that?
That's
You
hilarious.
can clearly tell that the picture you took it off the internet or somewhere, so off Tumblr or something.
But I feel like you should. I mean, I want to know. I want to reach them. If we could call them on three-way, like, listen, let me understand the thought process that goes into. You've already shown it. It's already been out. When you sent the picture, what were you thinking? Like, just say no. Just be like, you seen it already. Like you, like I don't know. That's hilarious.
Actually, you met him too.
Wait,
When
what?
we went to brunch over here by my house.
Oh, I can't comment on the brunches. You know,
Okay.
my brunch rule is unlimited mimosas, so I can't.
Yeah.
I remember y'all. I don't remember them. Like, if you haven't made more than 2 brunches, I don't remember you. It's not. And no, I'm not an alcoholic, but I would like to share this with anybody who's watching now and in the future. The best way to drink a mimosa is in a pint glass over ice. It'll change your life. There you go. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But see, that was see, I told you Marion had stories. You can't beat getting proposed to after 2 weeks and flipping out because you said no. But that was a good one. That was.
I know Marion wins totally
No,
because she already had experience with that dude, and he came up and tried to catfish his body, and then was making excuses because he couldn't video. I'm sorry, but men send dick pics unsolicited. A man would get an opportunity to video his dick for a woman on request, not get persecuted by the law. I don't know a guy who's not going to take that opportunity.
Let me tell
Marion
you.
wins.
See, now I got to go and defend him. I got to defend him.
So
If your said member is not impressive, and somebody asks you for a picture, then you only have 2 choices. Either you're gonna go, I'm a motion of the ocean type of guy, or you send a picture. Like,
Or you just say you don't do. I don't.
right, or you don't do it. But I don't understand how you've already. And man, I'm assuming this is what we're saying here. So if I'm wrong, stop me. But I'm assuming we've already seen the motion of the ocean. So, what is the reason to send a picture of something that's not you? Like, you couldn't have made it up. Was like, it almost reminds me of, if you ever seen the movie Boomerang and Eddie Murphy with Eartha Kitt says, "Can you make it darker?" Like, he obviously assumed that it was way too dark, and his motion was so impressive that you would think that this was him. And I feel like you're very nice, because if I was a woman, I had to call him and be like, this is not you. We've already been there. Like, this is not you. Like, I don't know who you think I am, but this is definitely 100% not you. But I like to meet him. And then I'd have left it at that.
Yeah, because he could have came back and said, "Oh, I was just trying to make you laugh. I was just trying to see if you noticed," but he didn't.
Right.
He didn't.
That's amazing.
you just gotta play. You gotta play it right. That's all it is.
Like, that is a. I don't even know. Like, if I had to vote, I still want to give it to Thundercat because but the level of crazy, like Marion's
That
story
was
is
a
just.
level of crazy, yes.
But see, that's a
Like,
whole
yes.
different level of crazy. Like that level of crazy is I'm delusional crazy. Like I'm delusional in real life. Yours is just pure on I'm crazy. Like there's no like logical sense to it. This guy I can at least defend somewhat, like of what he may have been thinking. Your guy, I'm like, other than your wonderful personality, like, when did he buy the tickets? Like that goes in my mind.
Yeah.
Like when did you
That's
buy the
true.
tickets? It's a 2-week window. Like, you know what? We gonna go out on this one date. It's been great these 4 or 5 conversations that we've had, and now I'm gonna call. What did you see? What airline was it? Was it Southwest? Did he catch you on like a twofer?
Oh, shit. This was before 2009. I can't remember.
Oh, he spent monies.
I wasn't impressed, so it wasn't KLM or anything, you know?
We flew to Vegas first class, though, so
Yes, we
there
did
you
get
go.
married in Vegas.
I'm just a little curious though. Like, she tells her crazy story, and Marion tells hers. But why isn't nobody questioning the fact that this grown man is looking up pictures of other grown men naked
Yes,
to send?
exactly.
How many pictures did he go through before he found that one? Is like, that's the one I'm sending right there.
Oh, well,
Like,
we're gonna
yeah.
add it. If we're gonna add
That's-
addendums, was
that's-
it the right shade?
Yeah.
Was it the
Was
right
it the
shade?
right shade?
If we're gonna add addendums to it, the question is, was it the right shade? Like, did he try?
So
to
he's
fool
over
you
here
with-
like this, like, that's pretty close. I'll send
I'm
that one.
crying. I'm crying.
Like,
Wow.
Bro, there's a level of crazy on both sides. Like, for
I
somebody else,
thought about that too. I'm like, so you
bro, he turned around
You
looked at
Googled
other grown men.
dick pictures, you know?
He was a man on a mission. Like,
What
Here-
is his Google history?
let me help you. I'm gonna help you out here. I'm gonna tell you this is his story.
What
I'm
is
right.
his Google
This
history?
is a story. I'm gonna give you a story. So what happened was he experienced his motion of the ocean. He had a goal to get back to experience his motion of the ocean. However, it just probably was not happening the way he thought it would happen. So he said, you know what? Let me remind her of what's here. And then he sent this picture. And what he didn't remember was that she's not forgetful. And most women are not forgetful in that moment, that he was like right here. But again, I give her credit because she didn't call him out on it, which means you cared about him as a person. And I give you a lot of credit for that. You know, you cared about his feelings, because I'm like, hey, if you have the nerve and the audacity, please allow me to return the same energy, because you've earned it. You earned this. Yeah, I'm still don't know. You know what? For everybody watching, you can send me a message at Critical Hustle. I don't care if you send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram, but I really would like to know, who do you think won? Because
Marion.
I got to disagree. I got to disagree, because that's a picture. Yeah, the man looked at a dick online to find one that he felt would be impressive. However, that's not calling the airline and buying a ticket for somebody he didn't know. Like, you can't even get that money back. Like, you just like, there's so
I
many
think
things.
that's why he was mad. He couldn't get that money back.
He had to make reservations at the right hotel. He had to call. Like, he had to do so much for this one date. My first date, I'm trying to think what restaurant we going to.
He did all
But-
that, but he came
but-
to the
hold
date
on.
in sweatpants.
But just imagine if he hold on. Just
You-
imagine. Just
Marion, I'm
imagine
sorry.
if he searched the internet for dick pics.
No.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man,
This man came to propose in sweatpants on the first date. He is the Big Lebowski with money. Like, he wins. He wins. He 100% wins. He is the dude.
But who doesn't like the dude?
He is the dude, and I'm sorry.
Oh,
The only thing that would have made this better is after you told him no, he would have been like, cool, and then I'd want to know him. But since he was not cool, I can't know him. But that is hilarious that he came to the date in sweats. Were they clean sweats?
if he acted cool about it after I said no, I would probably still be friends with him. I was a little scared of him after all that, so I was like, no.
That is amazing. Man, you know what? You guys made my night, boy. I was sitting here and took a sip. Okay, so let me tell the true story here. I took a sip of this 151, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. I've never felt burned like I just felt when I took that one sip you guys saw me take. I was like, wait,
So you drinking it straight?
I mean, I drink everything straight, but
It's a bad idea.
no, you don't shoot this. I'm be honest with you, Marion. The level of alcohol in here, I can't even think of anything that I could put in here that would remotely mute what is going on.
I
Like,
used to drink 151s, you know, back in the day. And we just used to drink it with fruit punch.
so help me out. Give me a 151 story because I see what's in this glass.
Woo. You don't want those.
I mean, that was back like when I was 21, 22, you know, going, I think we clubbed every day of the week. So, but on Mondays, we would go to Carrington's and 151 were $2. And we would go to the back bar. And it was a Hispanic lady that was the bartender. You tipped her good. Your drink was like on point. We coming there sober. We walking out looking like
You could
am I
walk
gonna
out?
make it to the car. Oh yeah.
I think one day I might have to do an episode on drunkenness, like level of drunkenness. But
Oh, I got stories for that. Okay.
I got a few. Like I tell everybody, the drunkest I think I've ever been by myself is when I made the prayer. that one wonderful prayer where you do something that you shouldn't do and you say, Lord, listen, if I make it home,
If I get through this.
this is it. I was like, if I make it home, I'll never do this again. I'll never find this place that I found in alcohol. I will never go to again if you let me make it home tonight. And it wasn't like I was so drunk to be sick. I was just so drunk to say, I had to basically plan my way home in my head. It was like, okay, I know that I'm going to do this, this, and this. And when I say I did everything exactly that way, the only deviation was I was like, I'm hungry. I'm going to stop at McDonald's by my house and get something to eat. I stopped at McDonald's. And stopping is the mistake that you make when you're drunk. Whenever you stop motion, it's the worst. I fell asleep in the drive-thru waiting to get to the line, woke up in time to order. Like, it was like a little nod off. It wasn't like I'm out, but it was a little nod off. Got home. What I will say is I woke up the next morning with the bag of McDonald's clutched in my hand, laid flat out on my bed, and I was like, yep, God, thank you. I'm going to keep my word. It'll never happen again. And I promise, I've been drunker, but I have not been having to get home.
That was me on my wedding day, unfortunately, because the night before, my best friend took me out and we had told he told me, don't get drunk. I was like, don't get drunk. And the next morning I was sick and he was like, see, I told you. And on the way to the church, I had my head out the window saying, God, please just let me make it. And I promise I won't drink no more. I mean, like, I'm hanging out the window trying to get air because I was sick and out of it.
Good times. Drinking stories.
Drink is terrible.
I feel like, oh, I wanted to let you out of it, but I gotta ask. I need one story. I need one.
Oh,
Tell it.
this is a little dark and a little weird.
Ooh, do I know this one?
You
No.
could be the
I want to know it. Oh, you have to say it now.
you could be the winner.
Yeah. I was a teenager at the time, and it was before I had a license. Some of this is hazy, obviously. I had a job at a diner, and I used to skateboard home a few miles. I would skateboard and I would hitchhike. It was a different time.
Yeah.
One night, a girl picked me up. I say girl because she was older than me, but not much. So she was, I don't know, 16 to 18. And she had a bottle of 151. And she gave me a ride home. And we stopped and drank some of that bottle and made out for a while. And then the rest of the night, I kind of don't recall. But I believe I skateboarded home. The end.
Where's the darkness of it?
Because I don't know. It was just it's strange to think that someone picked me up. I don't know. It seemed a little teenage desperate. I guess that's the darkness of it. It's not that dark, but I guess the darkness of it is that there was drunk driving involved. And, this
Yeah.
was, when I look back on it now, I see that as something very unsafe. And, but
Well,
young and dumb. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I'm going to say that on behalf of all 16-year-old boys, thank you. Because that is the dream of every 16-year-old boy, to A, meet a woman who drives.
I definitely associate that with 151 rum. So.
Like, I'm undecided now. Like, part of me wants to take this as a shot and see what happens tonight, based off your story. Because I'm like, well, that was pretty good actually. At 16, now I get it. Being grown, you look back and you say, well, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that.
That was
However, it worked out well for you. So I'm going to say congratulations versus I'm sorry. But
I remember where we parked. I remember the 151 rum. I don't remember getting home.
Oh man!
And you made out.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember those three elements.
Yeah. You made it out with a girl that picked you up in the middle of the night.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was probably about 10 o'clock or something. Yeah.
That's hot.
Like I was about to say, like in guy language, that's legendary. Like I don't even know. Like there's really nothing bad about that. Like you're not. You know what? I'm just gonna say you didn't even qualify for like horror stories. That was.
Yeah, that
That was
not,
like who has
like
the
a
best
fantasy.
dating? Who has the best dating story ever?
I focus on the drunk driving part. I don't think it was right that, I left this person. I mean, I was in a way, I was too young to exercise better judgment to be the adult in the situation. But the dark part of it is picturing a girl very drunk in a car and kind of not
Driving
knowing
home.
what happened next.
Yeah.
To me, that's the dark part of it. And some of our teenage stories are gonna be filled with some of that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely the irresponsibility of teenage Jerron. Yeah, I can agree with you there. And I will say this: I've never had like a long conversation with you, but just in that short story, it really tells you are a really nice guy. Well, because
It is.
I can tell you right now, there are a lot of stories that I have that may knock on that scenario, not as perfect as yours, but I never cared what happened afterwards. I just was like, well, I made it and I am good to go. And Lord, thank you for letting me make it. I'll never put myself in that crazy position again. And to this day, in fact, I'll say it now. I hope they're okay because I probably didn't say it any other time. So thank you for making me a better person. I'll just tell you that.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
So-
what's crazy is the first time I met you, Jerron, I was like, hey, you want a beer? And you were like, no. So I've
Oh, yeah.
never known you to be a drinker at all. Like,
So I'll share this story and then I'm gonna let everybody go. Because this like runs in my whole circle of friends. The first time I ever drunk was my high school graduation. I got so drunk that I got blackout drunk. Like literally lost in my life, I've lost 4 hours of my life that I have no idea what happened. No memories ever popped up, period. Perfectly fine. But from like, let's say 18 to maybe 26, 27, I just didn't drink. I don't really like the taste of alcohol. Also, alcoholism runs in my family. So knowing that I got that drunk and woke up with no issues, like perfectly fine, I was like, you know what? If that's my superpower, cool. I don't need to abuse it. It's fine. I actually didn't start drinking of any kind again until I started doing music because I don't like clubs. So like I started doing music and we have to be in these clubs waiting to perform. And I learned that you take 2 shots of Patron, you're in a good place, music starts sounding better, you're good to go. So when I met Sherman, people be like, you want something to drink? No, because drinking is not refreshing to me. Like I'd rather just go get like the juice or whatever. Like I can drink water, it's fine. But now, when I got married in Dominican Republic. My friends who have never really seen me drink are like, I can't believe you got that drunk. You never took a drink with me ever. And I was like, I'm not against drinking. I just was like, I don't see a purpose. Like to this day, I can't drink and eat food. Like I don't pair. There's no level of alcohol that I find is a good match for my meal. I have had steak and red wine. That is a good match. I will say that there is some level of enhancement that exists there, but I don't need it. So yes, If I'm a drink, I'm the guy that says if we're gonna drink, let's drink. Like I don't want to go and we drink and it's like that was good, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. But if we can get to 4 or 5, I'll be like, this is a good time. We had a full good time. Like I said, with my brother-in-law, we sat and took shots of Douce at Christmas. The way that ended for both of us was he was passed out at home. His wife drove him home. The way it ended for me was I'm hungry. I ate some pizza rolls. Don't ever get drunk and eat pizza rolls. Sat there for like a minute and was like, oh my God, I think at some point I'm going to throw up. I ended up in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet like a responsible alcoholic, and waited for that time to come and made a conscious decision. This is going to come back. It's going to come back in the toilet or the bathtub. I looked at the bathtub and said, hey, you know what? Easy money. Because trying to turn around and get to this toilet, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to risk getting the rest of the bathroom crazy. Let it go, cleaned it up, went to sleep. I was fine. Woke up, no problems. But, yeah, I don't advise taking shots of Douce. Like, don't do it. Drink your Douce with lemonade. That's what I would share with you. It's great sipping.
I tell you what, you want to hear a funny story? Call John Black. Ask him about the time he took me out for my birthday.
No, because I know this story. I know this story, and I will say that you didn't listen to the little voice. So these are my drunk tips.
There was no little voice.
There was.
Look, okay.
Everybody has a voice.
I don't know if y'all have kids.
A little voice.
It's called The Emperor's New Groove.
What?
And in The Emperor's New Groove, hold on, I said kids first. So in The Emperor's New Groove, it's this kids movie where he's like looking at the devil and the angel on his shoulders, and all of a sudden the devil starts doing like push-ups on a handstand, and the angel's like, no, he's actually got a point over there. Look at him go. That's what happened that night. John took me out. We actually ran to a police officer, and even the police officer didn't have him back. He was like, you take that man back in there and you get him drunk, make sure he has a good night. This is a real story, actually. There's a video of me ruining the whole night. John Black actually coaches me all around the city, like picking up money from like other people and dropping off money to people that played in his band. You know, like he's trying to do business and stuff with like people that he done acts with, and like it's this big blur in the back of my mind what actually happened. But I just remember being at his house eating Steak and Shake and passing out and waking up to 2 kids looking at me 2 feet away from me like, hey B, you all right? Like it was crazy. It was a crazy night. So you need to go back and talk to John Black about that story, because he's got the whole thing on camera. So it's terrible.
For Sherman's purpose, I'm going to share with you the voice. The voice is the voice you hear when you say to when you hear this voice your head says, I'm fucked up. Everybody hears it. Everybody hears the voice. The problem is you make a decision at that point, because that's the last rational decision you have. It's either I'm about to stop and start drinking water and try and get myself back to okay, or, oh well, I'm going. But everybody hears that one voice. It hits everybody at a point, and you make your last rational decision at that point. Because if you decide to keep going, you might as well give your keys to somebody and say, listen, I may be able to convince you that I can drive and be fine, but I'm telling you right now, it's over. So
I'll tell you right now, my last rational decision was when I went to the bar to get another pitcher of beer, and they were like, oh man, we've had these mixed up. And I was like, well, just mix a little bit of that with a little bit of that, fill the pitcher, we're good to go.
You had already heard the voice. You had already made the decision. That wasn't the last rational thought. You had already made your last rational thought. You was like, I'm messed up. Oh, well, let me go back to the bar and get this pitcher. Tell you, it's the magic statement. But again, I appreciate you guys taking the time out with me to tell these wonderful stories. I feel bad because I don't know what I'm gonna do with this 151. Like I kind of want to just do it just to earn my stripes. Like I gotta just do it. Like I gotta just take it as a shot. Marion has made me feel like I'm kind of a punk if I don't, because she was like, back in my day, we was doing $2 shots of 151. I'm thinking it was not 151, because how could you drink multiple shots of this? Like, who could do this?
We had younger livers back then. It was like not a problem. Now, like, I drink half a martini and I'm getting slurred voice, and I'm like, husband, can you finish my martini? Like, I didn't share my drunk story, and I will real quick. my husband, he was a designated driver for this. We met my what do you call that? I used to play WoW and the guild leader. So I found out my guild leader was in Houston. I was like, holy shit. Like, I had been playing this game for 2 years. We just found out we actually like live close by. And so, husband, he was super cool. He's like, hey, I see you doing the shot. I'm going to invisible one with you. Yeah. He's like, my guild leader was moving to New York or something, but we just found out like we live by each other. He's like, hey, can like we meet up just to say hi? I'm like, hell yeah. Because he was moving to New York because he said that Houston was bland and it was boring. I was like, motherfucker, come to Montrose. Can I just show you some Houston? And so I showed him the neighborhood. We went to Katz's. Like, he loved it. And then we went to, what was the place?
The Flying Saucer.
Yeah, we went to Flying Saucer. And I don't know why, but the guild leader decided to make it into a drinking contest. Or maybe it was my idea. I don't know whose idea it was because I got very drunk. Anyways, we're drinking and drinking and drinking. We're just like drinking. My husband, poor husband's having to listen to this bad music, listen to us trying to sing along very poorly, and then watching him hit on this beautiful waitress who did not want anything to do with this guy. And then, like, I don't remember what happened.
I think he got her number. But they all got he wound up passing out in his car.
Yeah.
And Thundercat and I took Thundercat home very drunk.
But I did not pass out. So
No.
I won the drinking contest.
Yes, she did.
It was awesome. That's all I remember, but I passed out somewhere between there. So that was my drunk story.
Commitment.
What?
I respect your commitment because you had to win. The story
I
wins
won.
with a W. You won twice tonight. I'm still saying you won this who had the worst horror story.
Oh, Marion won.
I think dick pic trumps a false dick pic.
Yeah, false dick pic.
Trumps marriage proposal.
I think so too. Like,
Well,
I gotta agree with that.
won.
Well, fine. You guys. Well, actually, Marion, you can make the call because they both vote for you. I'm gonna say you didn't win. I gotta just go ahead and be real. In my life, a fake dick pic happens. People do that all the time. I don't hear too many stories about people getting proposed to 2 weeks after like meeting on the first date.
I
Well,
have.
actually, that is common too. I mean,
It is common. It's common for women. It's not common for
Very,
men.
very common.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
If I can tell you the number of proposals I done got, and I just be like, what? You don't even know me.
here's what you know what? I'm gonna do an episode in a couple of weeks of I'm gonna do another girls' night, and I'm just gonna do it completely about tell me the craziest guy story that you have, because as a person who finds himself to be pretty sane in his dating approach, to the level of I'm surprised I'm married. That I tell my wife all the time, like I grew up in Los Angeles during the 90s. Like if you listen to any of the music that came out of the 90s in Los Angeles, like we were not really bred to fall in love and decide, oh, this is the right person for me. It was like, they come, they go. Like honestly, Plenty of Fish might have been the reason why I went there. It's like, whatever happens, happens. There's plenty of fish in the sea kind of thing. But yeah, I really want to just get into this because now you guys have both told me that fake dick pics is not uncommon after there's been motion in the ocean. Because that's the thing. That's what makes it kind of special is not the fake. It's the fact that it's already been exposed. It's like me showing myself to my wife and then later on sending a picture and be like, you see me, it's Wesley Snipes, right? You see me.
That would be like,
you like this chocolate, don't you?
I'm very plump. And I'm cool with that. I like who I am. But that would be like me taking like, I don't know, what's a model's name?
Like a Kate Moss photo?
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
a Kate Moss photo, posting my face on her body and sending it to my husband saying, hey, you want to get with this? And he'd be like, who the fuck is this? This is you. Like, are you crazy?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Marion, you're the tiebreaker. Because if you say you won, then you win. But
for me, it's me because who does that? And it just wasn't that. It was the calves, the thighs, sir. It was a muscular body.
So it wasn't just the dick, it was
Okay.
the whole
That's so
that.
crazy when I
Let me-
think about the whole thing. Because like my wife, when we were talking, she was like, "Send me a picture of you," and I just got through riding the bike in the neighborhood. I'm like, man, I can't send her a picture of me all sweaty and stuff, but I did anyway. I was like, I was riding my bike and everything in the neighborhood, and she actually sent a comment back, and she was like, "Man, you look good," and I was like, like. There's got to be a level of appreciation when you're upfront and honest about something, and you send somebody something, and they're like, "Man, I like the way you look."
But Sherman, you're
Like-
talking pre-meeting. This is not a pre-meet. This is I didn't see it all. Like, here's my question, Marianne. And I'm really trying to let y'all go, but y'all keep making me want to know stuff.
But see, and that's why we're saying like she wins because this is
Yeah.
like
I mean, here's the thing. She voted for herself, so yeah, she wins. But here's my question. Without airing him out, and if it exposes too much of who he is, then don't answer. But what does he do for a living? Because I need to know, what is he doing with this level of thinking, and is he affecting like human life?
I don't know what he's doing, but
And
his
that's
family has a lot of land and he's into farming. Y'all had a conversation about see, yeah, you remember.
No, I don't. That was crazy. I'm trying to really think who this is. What did we have a conversation about? Farming and what?
Because he was saying how you can get certain loans and stuff if you have like certain things in your backyard. We was at brunch over here. Anna was there.
Which brunch?
What is this? American Kitchen or whatever? Right here, Memorial in Kirkwood by me.
Oh, the Urban Kitchen thing. The
Urban Kitchen.
Oh, I'm gonna be real with you. I remember going there. I don't have a clue who the hell was there.
Was it? Thank you.
Like I'm sitting there like that was not one of our most memorable brunches.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. You came back with a geologist, so it's okay. Get him at the next brunch. But man, you know what? I wish some of my friends did stuff like this and I found out. Because I get to ask all the questions I want to ask. Because I almost, like, the fact you keep saying that I talked to him, I'm like, man, I wonder if I talked to him enough that I could reach out to him and be like, what was your thought process? Because now you're saying he showed, like, his calves and his legs. Like, did you really think he was going to pull this off? And then, and Sherman and OUN, I need you guys to help me out with this when I say this. Who tries that hard after? Like, who goes through that level of extra activity after? Like, there's no once you've seen me naked, there is nothing extra that I need to do. We've already made a lot of decisions at this point. You've seen every role, like, I have nothing to hide anymore. Like, I'm more free now than I was before.
I don't know, man. The only thing I can think of is there's some kind of a shortage there, but. I got to be honest because I never had to follow up with something like, "Hey,
so here's a message for the guys."
It was always like, "Hey, you remember?" Like, I mean,
here's a good message for the guys, and the reason why I created a show at one point called Real One Wednesdays that we rebranded as Real MVP. But I wanted to give a show for guys that were in different places of dating, marriage, single, because there's a message that needs to be taught to that young man who did this. It's like, listen, you already won. If you were able to have motion in the ocean and she still talks to you, there is absolutely no need to send a fake anything. Like, your goal is just to make sure that you can go again. Now, if you only went once and you've been trying to earn your way back in, accept the fact that you've been friend zoned and you're not allowed to go back, and just move on. Maybe your personality kept you around and she will introduce you to another friend who won't care about your shortcomings. But that fake picture, you've just embarrassed your whole family. Your family name. You've embarrassed your family name. And I feel bad because you may still know that person, and apparently I know this person, or at least I know of this person.
Yeah, he sends me messages on Instagram because we're not friends on social media. But he, every now and then he'll send me a message and talk about, what happened and how he's not gonna give up. What?
Well, so when he says what happened, is he talking about his picture he sent? Because that's what I need to talk about. Like, forget what happened.
The reason why we stopped communicating.
Did
so
you ever
he
say it started with
like,
the Did you ever say it started with the picture? It started when you sent me that fake penis. Like, it just starts there. It went downhill from that moment on. I just didn't trust nothing you had to say because you thought you'd pull this off.
And he just did just other irritating things too. So I was just like, but yeah, it's crazy because I'll show Jason like messages and he's like, but when I hadn't even talked to him since like right before my son passed.
Mm.
So
does Jason know the story of the fake picture?
Yeah.
Good, because I got to talk. Like, look,
I tell him everything. That's a shame. I tell him everything.
Well, my thing is, you've seen me when I go out in groups. Like, I like to talk to the guys. Like, I fully want to have open conversations. Like, man, just talk. Because if I talk to him about farming or whatever, I don't farm, so I don't know what we were talking about. But I just really got to understand, like, the same question I asked OUN and Sherman. Have you ever tried so hard after? Like, before I give you all the do what you gotta do before. You want to show pictures, you want to drop your receipt with a $50,000 bank statement, you want to show Rolls Royce keys to a car that you don't have, do whatever you want to do at the beginning. But after you trying to, like, and now what makes it even funnier is that you're saying that he was like, I'll never give up. Well, you know what?
That's crazy.
I feel like this. You do win because Thundercat did not say that after the proposal and it didn't go right, he has since been trying to contact her and letting her know that, like, I'm still going to be there for you.
Nope.
So,
never talk to me ever again after that. Yes.
Reverse catfish.
He was only so here's the thing. He was only so crazy. He wasn't all the way crazy. He was crazy enough, but not over the top. Man, you did give us extra crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and say, you win.
Mary is the champion.
But to everybody watching, be on the lookout for this women and the crazy dating stories because now I just want to sit back and be entertained. Don't take shots of 151 post 40. It's not the thing to do. See any other good messages I want to share with you.
Don't take shout out to Roberto.
Oh, yeah.
Thundercat. Oh, I did it.
That was so much doper because the 151 shot, I actually feel it. So let me tell everybody, don't take shots at 151. This was probably the dumbest thing that I've ever done. But I genuinely at least feel like I haven't disrespected my drinking ability by taking the shot. But it really is embarrassing to know that one shot of something can make you feel like 12 shots of something else. So with that being said, it's another Critical Hustle Happy Hour. A good time has been had.
Yes.
I am going to do a part 2 of this because I did get a lot of responses about online dating. And I'm curious just to hear people's stories. You guys have said a wonderful trade. Couple of things that I will point out that we've learned is that, one, online dating works. That is the thing. You hear a million horror stories. It's probably more horror stories than actual wins. But I think if you know what you're looking for in terms of who you are, you can make it work in any scenario of online dating. That's one of the things that I'll point out. Sherman, you made Tinder work. You basically turned a fast process into a slow process. Another person I know said he met his wife on Tinder. Yeah, I don't know. That's awesome because Tinder was not built for that. But but you did make it work. I will always and forever be a proponent of Plenty of Fish. If I get famous enough, I'm hoping to get endorsements, and I will talk about the wonderfulness of Plenty of Fish like it is Match.com. I'll be like, you can meet your perfect person on Plenty of Fish, or you can meet somebody crazy as hell, but it's free. That's what my response would be.
I mean, I'll lie about it for if they want to throw my name out there. Yeah, Plenty of Fish is where I actually met.
Sherman is trying to get a check.
Who isn't?
Thundercat OUN, you definitely have spoken well of eHarmony and finding your perfect person, because I will say, in knowing Thundercat in the time that I've known her, I will say that I'm not gonna say nobody because that puts a lot of people under the bus, but how she speaks of you as a person and just having this time of getting to know you, I would say eHarmony is a wonderful place for people to go and meet someone. If you're looking for someone serious And if you want to pay a monthly fee, it's great.
It was not too.
Marion, I want to say that you've masterminded a lot. I will tell anybody who goes into Facebook groups, I'm gonna just be real with you. It's a lot of undercover stuff behind going on. We didn't even get to go into that, but I would just like to say there's a lot of what people present themselves as online, and then who they are when you meet in person. It can be completely different. But hey, you're all adults. Have a good time. That's what I would tell you. You join a Facebook group, and it's a social group. Be positive. Have a good time. The one thing that I will say about Marion that I know is that in everything that since I've known her, she's always been about positivity and actually like helping people. Like she got me to do stuff that I could care less about doing, and it sounds bad, so don't judge me, Thundercat. But she does.
I'll never judge you. Never judge you bad.
I'll say this exactly how it goes. She does. Oh wow!
Really, Evelyn?
Right, I have to put this out here, and that's a whole nother thing I got to visit. But I would definitely say with Marion, she does homeless giveaways, back. I think we did back to school. Did you do back to school too? Backpacks, and this is not something she does through any organization other than the fact that she just cares about doing it. I've told her numerous times I'm not going to go do anything, but I will 100% give you whatever I can to support and help donate to whatever cause.
That's awesome.
With that being said, she's one of the few people that I've met that I can say in a group how she presents herself is who she really is, and that's the reason why I'm always happy to have her on these shows, because she will tell you how crazy it is and then tell you how normal it is at the same time. So again, thank you guys for giving me this hour and 50 minutes of your life. It's been great. I've learned a lot about crazy men. I took a shot at 151. I've never done that before, and I probably will never do it again. This bottle will see my kids at 21, and I may be like, take a shot. Because I am never going in this bottle again. This bottle is not made for, I don't even know what this bottle is made for. I actually drove around looking for this in Puerto Rico. But
you could use it for first aid.
Actually, you know what? My wife just started her baking business, and she used it to coat the. Actually, I don't know what it does, but apparently it dries really fast, so it makes the icing or whatever work.
Ooh.
So for all the bakers, that's what it's out there for. But since she opened it, I was like, I'm gonna take a shot. Well, let me just say, this now belongs to the bakery. I'm going back to normal stuff that's 40 proof. Thank God for America and FDA. Because this.
Hey, thank you for having us. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun.
OUN, I do, at some point I am going to do some shows on music, so I definitely want to have you on and talk about the music that you do and where people can find you. Thundercat, I do want to talk about art because
You got it.
one of the things I think is important, it's funny, I'm just talking about this stuff, but one of the things I think is really important is because we're all dealing with a pandemic and being in the house, people have to find ways to release. And I know that like I have an easel and acrylics and stuff like that, and I just won't take the time to go do it. But I know it's one of the most relaxing things that I've ever done. So I definitely want to talk about just how people release, in this time. So again, and Sherman, thank you, because one thing that I came from this whole story is you 100%, 200%, 1,000% love your wife.
Aww.
And I am 100%
She's crazy.
That's fine. But that's your crazy. I'm 100% thankful that you did not have to go date around and experience the full gambit that is dating in this time period to realize that if your craziest story is a woman wanted to move in with you because she saw that what you had, as crazy as that is for you and an eye-opening moment, trust me, it can get so much worse. So with that being said, thank everybody for tuning in. This will be available on YouTube. Marion, I know you have your beauty channel, so for all you people out there catfishing that you're worried about meeting people and you don't know if your makeup is going to be right, tell you what, you can stop catfishing if you turn into Marion's World. Is that the YouTube page as well?
Uh-huh.
Marion's World 2.0 or Marion's World. If you look for her, she will give you everyday tips to doing your makeup that will make you look like somebody spent a lot of money, and you will not be caught in some random trend that whatever's popular now. I always give her that credit because every time I see makeup artists, they're doing whatever the most popular thing is, and that doesn't really show your skill. It just shows you know how to follow what's going on.
Yeah, I tell that's on my videos. I don't do Instagram makeup, and I'm not a makeup artist. So, I'm just sharing what I know, what I learned.
Evelyn is definitely a catfish.
And also, I think I saw this in Marion. If I'm wrong, stop me. But I believe that your website currently has 50% off lashes.
Yeah, you have to inbox me because I'm gonna revamp my website. So I'm trying to get rid of my old inventory so I can get new. So yeah.
You want to give them the website, by the way?
I mean, you can inbox me on Facebook, or you can go to Instagram, which is Miniminx with the Z lashes. So yeah.
So here's what y'all do, because nobody remembers probably. Go to Marion's World 2.0 and be like, hey, what's up with these lashes?
Yeah.
Hey, can guys put those beautiful lashes on their dicks to send better dick pics?
Who hasn't been doing that yet?
Here's what I'm scared of. I think Thundercat single-handedly just created something that might be the new challenge. Be like,
God, I hope
hashtag
so.
dick
No.
lashes.
No, if
Hashtag
they could just be creative, maybe I'd appreciate the audacity.
There you go.
I should my husband every dick pic I get.
I think we got something here. Hashtag dick lashes. I'm just saying. You might be able to get this inventory off really quick. You might be able to get this off really quick. But again,
Crazy.
man, Evelyn, I have no idea what's a good question because again, 151 shot of this has turned me into remember 3 minutes ago. So again, I'm gonna get off of here and go be a husband. Thank you guys again. I recommend online dating. I recommend no matter how you choose to date, take the time to get to know the person, or be honest with yourself and know what you're looking for, because that will make your life a lot easier. If you're not looking for a long-term relationship, then be honest. Be 100% honest. Be like, hey, I'm just looking to hang out, and say what you're looking for. Because trust me, you can avoid a lot of crazy by you being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got one little bit of advice. If you don't know what you're looking for, find out what you don't want in life first. Because if you realize what you don't want in a person or in a relationship or anything, that's going to help you find out real fast what you do want and what you are looking for.
That's fair. And now I have a random question. This is a 151 question for Marion. Marion, what is Jason's favorite song?
I don't know.
Get in this car, what music is playing?
It's on Sirius Radio, so it's a mixture of he's from New York, so he's
I'm asking a real question, and I'm gonna tell you why in a second, but I gotta get to a song. Like, what's the last song you heard in this car?
I don't know. I barely ride in his car because he has a scat back, and that car is just too fast for me. So yeah, we ride in my car, so we listen to my music.
Okay, well, fine. I'm gonna tell you why I was asking. I'm gonna need an answer for this because this is gonna determine how I feel about him as a person. I love that he is a geologist, but if he listens to anything remotely the same as I listen to, he might be my favorite person on the planet because I've seen pictures. So by looking at him as a picture, the judgment that I have is like, he could be my favorite person on the planet because every geologist I've ever talked to, I have been like, I wouldn't hang out with them. But based off how he looks and based off the fact that he's a geologist, only thing I need to know is what is he listening to? When he's like, I'm listening to music. What part of New York is he from?
Queens.
Okay, he's my guy. I'm okay because that's my borough.
That's all I
That's my
needed.
borough. If he's ever shopped at the Coliseum, he's my guy. If he likes a beef patty, he's my guy. So I'm good. I can't wait to meet him. We need to do a brunch. We need to just get out and do a brunch. We need to put our mask on and go out here and get our brunch on.
Exactly.
Again, I'm gonna stop talking. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you again. It's been wonderful. Thundercat and OUN, do you guys want to plug anything where they can find your music or your art?
Yeah, I don't have much online, but it's technically at unevensouls.com/OUN.
Okay.
I'm not plugging anything right now. I've been taking a break, so I'm good. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, just in the future. future of life. She makes jewelry and does wonderful art. Whatever.
Thank you.
Just
Appreciate that.
back away. Sherman, we already talked about it. You're just Sherman, and I appreciate you for being you.
It's just Sherman.
Tell your wife have a wonderful night. Tell the kids I said hello, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you.